don't worry, this experiment isn't dangerous at all. Trust me.
I just said, yes, man, right away, anything.
Alright, so this is kind of a weird one. So first thing I want to mention is this video is sponsored by Barrel Char Wood products because there is no way I could spend the money on this thing. If you're wondering what this is, I am not selling it. This is just a thing that Ken over at Barrel Char Wood sent me. It is an ozone maker. He and I were talking about what ozone would do to a spirit. We were talking on email, and then I get a notification that this thing is on the way from Amazon. So thanks, Ken. Really, today's video is just about answering the question, what does ozone actually do to a spirit when you pump it into a spirit? So if you don't already know, ozone is 3 oxygen atoms that are stuck together. It's not very stable. Very often what it will do is oxidize something that it comes into contact with. One of the oxygen atoms will detach and stick itself to the molecule of whatever it comes into contact with. I'm not a chemist, so that's all you're getting from me. I'm sure somebody else can fill you guys in down in the comments section, pretty please. So the idea is that one of the processes that we look for in aging a spirit is some oxidation to occur in order to change flavors from one thing to another. This is kind of a quick way to do that. It kind of forces those reactions to happen immediately instead of over a long period of time. When this thing was on its way, I did a little bit of Googling, and I found a patent from 1937 where a guy patented a process to inject raw White Dog whiskey fresh out of the still with ozone to kind of speed up the aging process so that it went from being a green white spirit to a mature white spirit, and then that mature white spirit went into the barrel, so it would kind of take up some of the time where it was coming to a level of maturity in the barrel and just shorten the process. So when this thing arrived, I had just finished reading that patent and I was like, cool, that's what I'm gonna test. So what I did is I got some of the red, white, and blue spirit that I hypothetically made in July. Video right up here if you haven't seen it. This one has red, blue, and white corn in it, but it's still a bourbon because it has a large percentage of barley. I just made 2 little, like 200 ml samples. This one, I pumped it full of ozone for about a half an hour at full blast. The ozone was so strong after the first minute that I turned on my giant vent hood up here. And this thing is so strong, it'll suck the fillings out of your teeth. This thing was pumping out so much ozone that I could smell it outside. That's a lot of ozone. The human body can detect ozone in pretty small quantities, but that was still significant to me. Anyway, I let this sit for about an hour afterwards, and then I shook it up a couple of times, and I could still smell the ozone in the liquid. And I was like, well, let's see what happens. So I took a clean, unozonated sample, and this one, threw a piece of wood in them, and I think the color difference is primarily because they were from different pieces of wood. It's just what I grabbed. It was a quick test, so we've got some differences in color. So I threw these into my ultrasonic cleaner that Ken also got me because apparently he loves sending me toys. Thank you, Ken. I ran it through the ultrasonic cleaner for about 6 hours with it on about 120 degrees Fahrenheit and just let it go. And this is what I ended up getting. After letting it cool down, come down to room temperature, this still smelled like ozone. So I let it sit for a full week because I needed to get that aroma out of there. And so I would come by every day and give it a good shake and then open up the jar and basically to kind of burp off some of that ozone smell if I could. Now at this point, there's no ozone, and there is a very distinct difference between these two spirits. But before we get into that, if you need some aging wood, I want you to go down to the link I've got in the video description and check out Barrel Char Wood products, because Ken sells everything you would ever need to age your spirits yourself at home. He's got charred white oak, cherry, birch, Brazilian amburana wood that smells like cookies. It's amazing stuff. And the cool thing is that Ken sources, mills, and toasts all that wood himself. So you know that it's clean, you know that it's not treated with chemicals like wood preservatives or anything. So if you need some wood products, go to Ken's website and check him out. Now here's something really cool. Ken is super generous. He got me this thing, and he got me the ultrasonic cleaner that I've used in a couple of other videos. Not only does he love giving me toys, but he loves giving away free stuff to you guys because so many of you have become customers of his. So right now, he is going to give away 2 basic aging kits. And I'll pop that up on the screen right now. And all you've got to do to win that is to leave a comment down below. So we're going to pick 2 winners. One from this video and one from my next video. So if you're not subscribed to my channel and you want a chance to win, hit the subscribe button with the little notification bell, and that way you'll get notified when I post the next video so you can go leave a comment. And I'm going to pick a random winner from each of those comment sections, and I'll contact you and then give your information to Ken, and Ken will send you your kits. So pay attention to your notifications, subscribe if you're not, and good luck. Okay, so what did we actually get out of these 2? So this one's unozonated, this one's ozonated for a half an hour. Both of them are treated with the exact same sized piece of oak, but they came from different trees. So I think that's why we've got some different colors here. So from the unozonated, it just smells like a bourbon. Vanilla, caramel, some leather, that kind of burnt, sugary barrel candy thing going on when you have a really good rich bourbon. And it's a good bourbon. I'm really proud of it. This one, it just smells like campfire. I've used a piece of wood from this exact stave in this exact type of whiskey that I aged in the ultrasonic cleaner and a hot and cold cycle. I drank all that one about a month ago. And I remember it came out very similar to this. There's no vanilla. It's basically one note. It's just campfirey charred wood. And the flavor is so flat. It's flabby and flat. It tastes like vodka with oak. And that's weird. So I didn't really know what to make of those results. I was a little confused as to what was going on. And that's where my enthusiasm to just kind of jump into this project really bit me in the butt. If I had looked a little bit more into treating spirits with ozone, I would have found some more recent patents than 1937. There's a dude up in Iowa, scientist with tons of patents and PhD in chemistry. Very smart guy, and he uses ozone to treat air and water in his day job. And he also loves distilling, so he started a liquor brand, and his goal was basically to use ozone to purify vodka, to make it an ultra pure vodka. His experience and scientific knowledge tells him that the ozone is going to go into that spirit. It's going to bond with a bunch of the congeners that normally couldn't be filtered out of a spirit. But if you ozonate it, the theory is that it causes those congeners and other compounds to oxidize. Therefore, they're more likely to get stuck in the carbon and allow the filtering to basically be a lot more effective, so you do end up getting a more pure spirit. Based on the difference between these two with the exact same whiskey and a piece of wood that should have given it a lot more flavor than just campfire, I would say that might be true. So what I did is I did a little test where I took another 150 mils of this spirit and I put it into these little guys. And instead of running the ozonator on 10 for 30 minutes, I decided maybe I should dial it down a little bit and then go up. On the first jar, I did 1 minute at level 1. On the second jar, 2 minutes at level 1. Third jar, 5 minutes at level 1. I didn't go above level 1 because honestly I figured that was probably enough for this amount. And boy was I right. Let me give you a quick little visual of the process here. So how do these actually turn out? To give you an idea of what everything should taste like, this spirit has a nice sweet corn aroma with a savory backing. And that, I think, comes from the Bloody Butcher corn. So it smells like fresh cornbread to me. You can pick up some of the barley in there, but it's basically, it smells like grandma's cornbread to me. And with a little butter on it. Yeah, a little butter. So how do these actually compare? Well, jar 1, it still has the grain aromas. You can smell the corn. You can smell the barley a little bit more than the corn, which is interesting. The butteriness and the sweetness is gone. And then on the second spirit, there's way less flavor. I would say it's knocked down by about 75%. Mostly the biggest characteristic I get from this one, the 5-minute jar, is just ethanol. The flavor on jar number 1 still tastes like a young whiskey. I can taste a little bit of the sweetness that isn't there on the aroma. I can taste the grain, the corn, and the barley, but it seems kind of hollow. Jar number 2, the sweetness is still there, but the grain flavors are dialed way down. Not much at all. And then on this last jar, some of the sweetness is still in there, but it's just dialed way down, and it's very strange. So that's the idea. They've been treated with the ozone, so now everything is kind of muted and weird. And there's a little bit of the ozone flavor. That's the other thing, is there's a little touch of ozone flavor in each one of the jars. Yeah, it's kind of like there's plasticky, just kind of a strange chemically taste. Honestly, for all 3 of them, they're all a little weird tasting because of that ozone flavor. So that's a little creepy. So now we're going to filter it. We're going to try the second part of that process. Oh, and by the way, along with the links to Barrel Char, down below that in the video description, I'm going to put links to the patents. So if you're interested in those, you can go and read through them too. At this point, I already know there's an ozone flavor in each jar. So I'm just going to throw each one in here, and we're going to filter all this spirit at the same time, and then taste whether or not it really is cleaner. My biggest concern is it going to get that ozone flavor out? Okay, there's the grain. That's interesting. There's a little bit of the sweetness, and I admit this is very unscientific because I'm not taking some of this and also running it through the filter. Yeah, I can pick up the corn, some of the savoriness from the Bloody Butcher, the barley, and the sweetness. The butteriness is completely gone. It's still a good spirit, and here's the good thing. The ozone flavor is completely gone. I think it's true what that guy's talking about as far as the congeners start to oxidize and then get trapped inside the carbon. Because this definitely has a much more muted flavor. So the question of whether or not you can use an ozone generator to purify your vodka even more than just straight filtering, I think is a yes. You might be wondering, why am I testing out this whole process on whiskey when the process was designed for vodka? Well, I don't know about you, but the difference between clean vodka and an ultra clean vodka is like paper thin. I don't know that I could actually tell the difference. So I didn't want to start with a vodka. I wanted to start with something that had a lot of big, bold flavors so that from the untreated spirit to the treated spirit, I'd be able to tell if there was any difference at all. Yes, there is a lot of difference. So based on the whiskeys, I think I have enough data to say that it is worth further investigation, and there is a distinct probability that using ozone to treat spirits can make them taste cleaner if you also employ filtering. So this is a neutrals only technique. It's not really useful for anything else. So I know there's plenty of you out there with tons of experience who really make good neutrals. If you need a neutral for vodka or gin, you know what you're doing, and you've got a reflux column or something, hypothetically, and you make excellent neutral without even trying. But I think there is a use for something like this, mainly in reclamation. So if somebody had 10 or 15 gallons of wine, and they were like, I don't want to use this, and so you run it, and it's crap brandy. It's not any good. Well, you could always try turning it into a neutral. So now you've got another technique that if you want to reclaim a project that just didn't turn out, maybe ozone will help you. Now you have another technique to help clean up flavors. Technique number one is to throw sodium carbonate into your low wines, then distill it. Step two, hit it with some ozone for 10-20 minutes or something. Step three, filter that shit. So before we move forward, I want to thank all of my Patreon supporters, especially these folks right down here. You guys are absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for all of your input, especially on the new stuff that I just posted on my Patreon site. That is all the encouragement that I need to keep doing weird stuff. So thank you guys so much. I'm incredibly grateful. You guys are definitely keeping the lights on. I know this was kind of a weird video, but I think it was an interesting topic. I'm glad I dove into it. I definitely learned a lot, and I hope you guys did too. If you enjoyed this video, do me a favor and hit the like button. If you want a chance at winning a basic aging kit from Barrel Char Wood, go ahead and leave a comment down in the comments section, and make sure you hit the subscribe button and the little bell icon right next to it so that you can get notified when I post new content, so you can enter twice in next week's video. All right, thanks for watching. Talk at you later.